Hello and welcome. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today I want to do something a little bit different. For those of you who are new to the channel, I am a real-world pilot. I fly the A320 for a living, and usually on this channel we do technical deep dives of this particular aircraft. And when I do so, I am usually full of praise, especially for the Phoenix A320, the incredible system depth that we have. But today I want to talk about the things that I don't like about Microsoft Flight Simulator and that I think are not realistic at all. This is not going to be a rant video. I just want to point these things out because I do think it's important that people understand that certain things in the simulator are very different from the real world. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, let's go straight into the thing that I personally think is the most annoying thing about Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that is the simulation or lack of ground friction of the tires. So what happens in the sim is during takeoff roll or after the landing, even the slightest input on the rudder will immediately make the aircraft swerve to the left or the right, and this is not the case at all in the real world. The tires cause a huge amount of friction and there's a huge amount of momentum, and therefore the aircraft will keep traveling in the direction it has landed or it is going on the runway. You need to give a huge amount of rudder input in order to change direction of the aircraft. This is why when you watch YouTube videos of aircraft landing in crosswinds, you can see after landing these huge deflections on the rudder to get the nose aligned with the center line, and this is what's required. But in the sim it literally feels like you're landing on a sheet of ice and the aircraft is just all over the place, even with the tiniest inputs, and it does it immediately without any delay, without any momentum. And for me personally, I have to say this is probably the biggest immersion killer of Microsoft Flight Simulator, because until the landing everything is fine, but the rollout and also the takeoff roll have absolutely nothing to do with the real world in terms of control inputs. Okay, let's talk about the ILS signal. In the real world, ILS signals can be received actually quite far away. As a matter of fact, an airport I fly to on a regular basis is Palma de Mallorca, which is an island, which means the ILS signal is not impeded by anything, and you can receive the ILS signal around 75 to 80 miles away from the airport. Now of course this far out we do not use the approach mode yet, but it is not unusual for ATC on a quiet day to give us a direct to the final approach fix and say you are cleared for the ILS. And in this case we use the ILS as sort of a bit of a guidance to tell us if we're too high, too low, and to make a nice join onto the glide path and keep the engines in idle. None of these things are really possible in Microsoft Flight Simulator because for whatever reason the ILS signal shows up really late in the simulator, and I don't know why that is. In the real world, like I said, you can get ILS signals far away from the airport, and we can use them as sort of a bit of a guidance to help us. Also, some clearances onto the ILS are given further away at certain airports. If you would have this in the sim, you couldn't even fly that clearance because you still don't have a signal and the ILS is still not identified. So I hope that maybe one day they will rectify this, because it's not realistic and it actually impedes realistic procedures at certain airports. And finally, let's talk about clouds. Yeah, clouds I think is a bit of a hot topic anyway. I've spent thousands of hours in cockpits, and therefore I've spent thousands of hours staring at clouds and interacting with them. And yeah, I'm afraid the clouds in Microsoft Flight Simulator have not much to do with the real world. As you can see here, they have this grey, dirty appearance. They look like smoke, but not like clouds. And I don't understand why this should be the case, because we have many games where clouds are depicted very realistically. In fact, here I have some footage of a game called Project Wingman. As you can see, the clouds look very realistic, and the game understands that the clouds are made out of water. So sometimes when we fly through thicker clouds, cumulus clouds especially, you get water droplets hitting the surface of the aircraft, because a cloud is essentially made out of either water or ice crystals. This again is something that Project Wingman understands. You can see here we have some water running off the canopy, which is a really cool effect, but something that is not present in Microsoft Flight Simulator at all. There has been some improvement with the latest version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. They are going in the right direction, but I still think they look a little bit off in my personal opinion. Okay, and that's it. So these are the 3 pet peeves, if you want, for me personally and Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know, maybe there's something you don't like either, or something you think is not realistic. I'm of course limited to airliner flying. Maybe some of you fly general aviation aircraft or other aircraft and have discovered something that is not realistic. Would be interesting to know. In any case, I hope you found the video interesting, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, all the best. Bye bye.